Oh God, Sony, why you do this? You know when something is too good to be true? Yeah, that's exactly what happened with the rumored Sony A5. First, we had a lot of rumors saying there was going to be an entry-level full-frame camera priced at $1,000. So much enthusiasm, all thrown out the window because apparently the A5 is no longer going to be called the A5. It's not going to be called the Sony A7C for some reason. And it's also going to be priced at over $2,000. So, pretty much all the excitement I had for this camera is now pretty much gone. But without any further ado, let's talk about it. So, the Sony A7C. This is now supposedly going to be the entry-level full-frame camera for vloggers and videographers. It was first it was supposed to be the A5, and we had a lot of rumors in SonyAlphaRumors saying that it was going to be $1,000. It was going to have this, going to have that, and now apparently it's been pretty much everything thrown away out the window because now apparently it's going to cost over $2,000. And this is gonna be the first of its kind. So I think Sony is now gonna implement a new line of cameras in the C line. I'm guessing the C stands for compact. But I have right here already everything loaded up on SonyAlphaRumors. So here, as you can see, it's confirmed. The next new full frame mount compact camera will be named Sony A7C. First of all, that name is pretty stupid. Why the C? Again, I guess it's meant to be stand for compact, but 7C, it doesn't really come out the tongue that well. I mean, they should have really went for A5 and just call it today, but no, they want to continue to be Sony and come up with stupid names like 7C. So it's gonna be the Sony A7C. It's gonna have IBIS, a pop-up BVF, which again I'm not really a fan of. Like I said in the previous video, I have a much if you want to check it out. I had told that this camera should really not have IBIS and the pop-up EVF. It should have no EVF and no IBIS to make it cheaper. But I guess because it's gonna be priced at over $2,000 now, I guess they will keep that. So it's gonna have the same form factor as the A6600. It's gonna have similar specs to the A7 III. So it's gonna be the same 24 megapixel sensor. I think they're saying it's gonna have 4K 60p, but it's gonna be crippled, so I'm guessing it's gonna be cropped and not have audio and stuff. And it's only gonna have one SD card slot, a mic in, and a headphone jack. And it's also gonna have a fully articulating screen like the A7 III. Now, is the screen size gonna be any bigger than the A7 III or the A7 III? I really doubt it. Being that it's gonna use the same style body as the A6600. I'm guessing they're gonna use the same screen size, so it's still gonna be the same terrible 3-inch screen size and the same resolution as well. So yeah, here we have it compared to the A7 III. So it's gonna be quite a lot smaller, as you can see, but the grip is still gonna be the same size to accommodate the FZ battery. So at least it's gonna use the Z battery at least. So at least the battery life is expected to be good. And here are the specs for the Sony A7C. So it's rumored to be announced mid-September. It's gonna be a new entry-level full-frame compact camera, similar to the A7 III specs. So it's gonna use the same 24 megapixel sensor and the same AF performance. So I'm guessing the AF is not gonna be improved. Then I guess it's not gonna have the new real-time tracking AF. I don't know if it's supposed to be the same specs as the A7 III. It's most likely not gonna have the same AF as the newer Sony cameras. It's gonna have the same A7 III full articulating screen, the body size of the A6600. Okay, so like I said, it's gonna be in that form factor of the APS-C cameras, which I'm not a fan of. I don't really like the APS-C style bodies, the rangefinder style bodies. The camera is going to be marketed for vloggers and YouTubers. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it's going to be marketed for vloggers and for YouTubers and content creators. It's going to use the NP FZ100 battery, so The battery life is gonna be good. I'm guessing they're gonna probably improve it. I don't know. They might be able to improve it, being that this is a newer camera. I'm not sure if they will improve it or not. It's gonna have USB Type-C. This is good to keep up with the newer cameras like the Fujifilm, for example, the Panasonics. So finally, we're gonna have a Sony with USB Type-C. It's gonna have a single card slot. This is gonna be $2,000, only offering a single card slot. I know it's an entry level camera, but for $2,000, I would have expected 2 card slots. So it's only having 1 card slot is gonna be stupid for this price point, unless it's gonna be like the A7S III, which allows for 2 types of cards in the same slot. It's gonna have a mic in headphone jack. Okay, so this is good for video and monitoring yourself. It's gonna have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Now the price is gonna be above the A7 III, so it's gonna be slightly above $2,000, and this is pretty bad in my opinion. This camera really should have come out at $1,000, like it was rumored some months ago and some days ago, I guess, when the rumors first started coming out of the A5. Now it's gonna be $2,000, so in my opinion, all the excitement for this camera that most people had is now gone, because this camera at $2,000, I don't really see it selling that well, especially with the A7 IV coming out in some months. It's probably going to be announced at the end of the year. So $2,000 for a camera like this, I don't really see the point of it. But then again, I was kind of expecting something like this, because I was really uncertain back then when the rumors were starting to come out that the A5, the then rumored A5, now it's the A7C, I guess, but the A5, when it was still called the A5, the specs that they were showing were a little bit too ahead of themselves for that price. So I was a little bit speculating if it was really going to be $1,000, being that it offered 4K 60 and 10-bit and all of those specs. So now it's pretty certain why some people were very speculators about those specs and that price. So it's gonna be over $2,000 for these specs. I guess it kind of makes sense at this price point. But then again, it still looks a little bit crippled. In my opinion, this should have been an APS-C camera, which people have been asking for a lot of time now. A Pro APS-C camera in the A7000, for example, like an A7000, for example, or the Mini A9, A9000, whatever, something like that. Pretty much a Pro APS-C camera. That's what I will do. But $2,000 for an entry-level full-frame camera, and entry-level, I say it like this, it's not really entry-level because it's offering stuff that you don't find on entry-level cameras like the Nikon Z5 and the Canon EOS R.I.P. Now those are entry-level cameras because they are priced well below $1,500. This one is even more expensive than $2,000, so I don't really see the point of getting it when the A7 III, you can now get it for less than $2,000. I guess the main benefits of this camera over the A7 III are going to be the flip-out screen and the unlimited recording, but aside from that, the A7 III, if you don't really need unlimited recording or the flip-out screen, the A7 III is still going to be a better deal. But then again, you can buy an external recorder with the A7 III and still come out cheaper, probably, depending on the price you pay for the A7 III. If you buy used, for example, you can get a used A7 III and an Atomos Ninja 5 and still have the unlimited recording provided by the Atomos, and the flip-out screen also provided by the Atomos. So if you really look into there, the A7 III is still going to be probably a better deal, but I don't know. We still are not truly 100% sure about all the specs. And they're also saying right here that there's going to be a new lens lineup as well announced. Compact lenses will have the code V. So I guess V is going to stand for vloggings or vloggers, whatever. So it's pretty much going to be a new line of cameras, I guess. Apparently the Sony ZV-1 was not enough for Sony. That was the camera targeted for vloggers. Apparently it was not enough, and now Sony feels the need to release a full-frame camera for vloggers. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, all the enthusiasm I had for this camera is now pretty much gone. I would have really been interested in this camera if it was $1,000. I would have probably bought it, actually. I probably would have bought it even though the ergonomics suck, you could always get a battery grip if you want a bigger camera. And the smaller camera does help with the gimbal as well to help balance stuff. But now that it's gonna be over $2,000, I don't really see a point of it. Like I said, this should really have been a Pro APS-C camera, not a full frame camera. This should have been an A7000 or a Mini A9, whatever you want to call it. It should have been a rival to the Nikon D500 and the Fujifilm X-T3 and the X-T4. This should have been a Pro APS-C camera, not a full frame camera. I don't really think it's gonna sell that well. It's probably gonna sell to vloggers and YouTubers because of the flip out screen, and people don't want to really get are not really, for those people that do not really want to pay that much money for the A7S III to have the flip out screen. I guess this camera will do it, but then again, like I said, you can get an A7 III and an Atomos Ninja 5 and probably still come out cheaper than these cameras, so I don't really see a point of this camera. Like I said, I don't really see my expectations were pretty mixed. Again, like I said before, the specs were really pushing it too far for that price, so I took it with a grain of salt. But I was really excited for a $1,000 camera like this. But now that it's gonna be over $2,000, I'm no longer interested in this camera. So I'm actually gonna wait for the A7 IV and see what they do with that camera, because that camera, even though it's gonna be more expensive, it's gonna be probably much better deal, unless they remove the flip out screen, which I don't. That's my biggest fear right now, is that they're gonna remove they're not gonna add the flip out screen to the A7 III, because, or should I say the A7 IV, because this camera having the flip out screen is probably gonna make so that they want you to buy this camera if you want a flip out screen. So I'm the biggest fear right now is that I'm seeing the A7 IV not having the flip out screen, so they push you to the A7S III or the A7C, because Sony tends to do a lot of this. So if the A7 IV is gonna be crippled in that regard because of this A7C camera now, it's gonna be very stupid, and I hope Sony does not do that. So guys, those are pretty much my takes on the now rumored Sony A7C. It's not really that exciting anymore for me. I'm not really looking forward to this camera. It's pretty much gonna be really only meant for the people who want a flip out screen, I guess. They're also gonna launch a new line of compact lenses. Okay, that's good and all. This camera is most likely gonna add the new kit lens as well, probably a little bit wider. So like for example, they're probably gonna add like a 24 to something millimeter lens, probably, I don't know, to improve that 28 to 70, which is very horrible kit lens. They really need a new kit lens. But yeah, my thoughts on this camera are really that it's pretty overpriced for what it is. Even if it offers 4K 60, who cares? It's gonna be crippled, so it's not gonna be any bit better the Panasonic S5, for example. And then you also have to take into consideration that the Nikon Z6S is rumored to be announced this year as well, and that's also gonna have 4K 60. So there's that. But yeah, at this price point, this camera, yes, it has pretty good autofocus, but then again, if you don't really need the ultimate recording with the flip out screen, an A7 III is gonna be even better deal. So yeah, I'm actually now more excited for the Panasonic S5 actually, because even though that camera's not gonna have that great of an autofocus compared to the Sony, it's gonna offer much better things like better ergonomics, better video quality. It's also gonna have a flip out screen as well, like the Sony, and it's gonna be a little bit better quality as well. So I'm now more excited about the Panasonic S5 than this camera. So yeah, that's it, guys. Pretty much my consensus on the Sony A7C. Pretty ridiculous. I really am torn apart by Sony, because Sony should have released this camera at $1,000, but now, as it stands now, over $2,000 for this camera, it's not really gonna sell that well, in my opinion. So thank you guys for watching the video. If you want to see more, you can always visit the channel and hit the subscribe button to stay up to date when I release new content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.